Hi, it's Friday the 16th. It's Tricia the Knitting Lady. I went to 4 different stores today. Well, one of them was for the Humane Society. 2 were so-called antique shops. And the third was, they called City Thrift in Daytona Beach. And I found this for $40. Not bad, huh? Perfect for a sewing table. Okay, take 2. How many times do I say that? I think you're ready for that. It's like, okay. What happened to her first one? Well, I must have messed up. I did mess up. So, I hope you like my little videos. I know I'm silly, but that's all right. We had to do a little trivia. Today, the 16th of July, is the birthday of Will Ferrell. He was born 1967. And Ginger Rogers, what a great dancer and actress. Born 1911, died in 1995. And 2 sad things happened on this day. July 16th, 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr., his wife, and her sister died in a plane crash. He was piloting the plane, and they were flying up to the Kennedy compound in Massachusetts. He flew under less than ideal conditions, and he was not really trained in instrument flying. And he wound up crashing into the sea. He was such a handsome man, too. Such a shame. The Kennedys have seen such tragedy. I don't know if any of you have read that book, Captain and the Kings, by Taylor Caldwell. My mother was a big Taylor Caldwell fan, so she had us read a lot of her books. What my mother would do, there was a store near us that would sell used paperbacks. And she would buy, let me see, a copy for her, myself, my brother, and my sister. She would buy 4 copies. She would have us all read the same book, and then we would discuss it. So I read a lot of Taylor Caldwell. I've read a few books. She really had us reading. We were all readers. I'm still a reader. I don't read as much as I used to because it's hard to find the time. But I do, whoops, didn't mean to do that. But the Captain and the Kings, they said it was written about the Kennedys, and they talk about a curse. And I often wonder if the Kennedys weren't cursed. They've had so much tragedy. But I was going for my real estate license at the time. What had happened, I was working full time. I was, a tax accountant. And I had sold my one house. And I sold my father's house. And we had such problems with the real estate agent that I thought to myself, if she can do this, I can do this. So I went for my real estate license, and someone sponsored me. on the condition I worked for them, which was fine. And we had gone to class in the morning. I used to go on Saturdays, and we heard about the death. It was sad. But I had my real estate license until they had the big, the problem in the late, 2006 to 2008, I think it was, with the housing. Everything was overinflated. They were giving mortgages away from like candy. I quit after that because I just saw too much, and I couldn't sell houses for twice or more than what they were valued at. I couldn't live with myself. And they were giving mortgages away like I said, candy. They weren't even looking at income verification. It's not the hardest thing in the world to figure out. You take your mortgage, you take your income, and 1/3 of it should be your mortgage payment. But people, they weren't even going by that. It was ridiculous. The broker I worked for didn't care. I did mostly rentals, but I did sell a couple houses. But the broker I worked for didn't care. She just cared about the money. And I couldn't sell someone a house I knew they weren't going to be able to afford. I mean, I had houses. I knew, it always seemed to, if I bought a house, the first year I had the house, something major would go wrong, like a roof or the heating. And I used to tell people that. Have enough in the bank so if something like that happens, you can cover it. But anyway, I was working in a town that I lived in for a long time, and I just saw the values of these houses. The prices go ridiculous. Houses that shouldn't have been valued for that much money. I remember selling a house down the street from where I grew up, and what they got for that house was twice what it was valued at. Really, what it should have been valued at. And I kept looking around the house going, it's not worth this much money. So, anyway. But I do, with the taxes, I mostly concentrate on real estate because I understand it. Speaking of taxes, I have to do continuing ed to keep up my certification. So I did a course before, an hour and a half on taxes from Puerto Rico. And there's a reason I'm doing that, because people are looking to move there as a tax savings, and I wanted to understand it. But the guy who gave the lecture was so boring. I mean, taxes are boring to begin with. It took me everything to keep my eyes open, because you have to answer questions during the lecture to they want to make sure that you're paying attention. After that, I had to take a nap. Oh, it was so boring. And I'm thinking, well, I wanted to knit, but I had to pay some attention to the screens and see what he was talking about, because it wasn't easy peasy stuff. So it's more complicated than they make it out to be, as far as those taxes. Puerto Rico. I have to tell my son that, because his friend is thinking of doing that to save taxes, and I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Anyway, enough of taxes. I took my nap. Not exciting stuff, that's for sure. But also on this date in 1945 was the first testing of a nuclear bomb in New Mexico. Now, that took place in Alamogordo. I've been there. And you're going to say, where haven't you been? I haven't been to a lot of places, trust me. But when I lived in Arizona, New Mexico's next door. I used to just drive up to New Mexico. I don't know what made me go to Alamogordo that time. Oh, I know what it was. It was the White Sands National Park, because that's right outside of Alamogordo, and it's beautiful. It's all white sands. You know, it's very interesting national park, and I like going to national parks. So I went, and Alamogordo, the area is beautiful. It really is. But as I was driving around, and people were very nice up there, I'm thinking to myself, I wonder, these people that lived here for years, do they glow at night with all that testing? It's kind of scary. So that was the scene of the testing, and Los Alamos was right near there, in the Manhattan Project. So that was the news for today, the trivia for today. So if anybody has any ideas for me, like I've always said, I'm all ears, because I am not the best at decorating. It's taken me forever. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I didn't get my stuff right away. But I'm almost finished unpacking, almost. I don't have any paintings up. Bare wall back there. I will get them up eventually. And that's about it. So take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.